Greetings, Shoe Rangers from Moonlight Beach, Encinitas, California. Might be one of the most beautiful beaches in all the world. That's a little bit biased because it's where I call home. Anyway, today we're going to talk about something dear to my heart. I love running shoes, there's no doubt, and there's not a bad running shoe on the market. In other words, every single running shoe on the market gets run in, and that means that there's a runner out there who finds the shoe to be their favorite shoe. That being said, there's some shoes that just make me scratch my head, and I've got 5 right here on this table that clearly make me scratch my head. It's not all the shoes on the reviews this year that make me scratch my head, but these 5 for different reasons caused me to think and ask why. Alright, the first shoe on this list is the On Cloud. A little bit about On. They're a Swiss company with a really good attitude. Love the guys that work for On, but and they make a good number of shoes. This one you see everywhere. This one I've seen in races in Kona. I've seen it on the New York City Marathon course. I've seen a lot of people running in it. It's a really cool shoe because it looks like a boat shoe, and that's unique in the world of running. Most running shoes look like running shoes, and this On Cloud looks like a boat shoe. But the reason why it scratches my head is a long time ago, a good friend of mine, Tony Melcher, gave me this running shoe test that I still use today, and I had a doctor actually confirm it years ago, not too many years ago, when he said everybody that comes in with a foot problem, I ask them to see their shoes, and every shoe does this. So anyway, here's the reason that makes me scratch my head. Shoes aren't supposed to bend there. They're not supposed to bend in the midfoot. Your foot doesn't bend that way. That's what Tony Melcher would say. Your foot does not bend that way. There are ways to make a shoe without a midsole shank. There are ways to make the shoe bend in the right place, which is actually up here in the forefoot. But On didn't do that with this, and it bends right down the middle of the shoe. So anyway, the On Cloud gets on my list of this one scratches my head. Next on the list is the Ultra Instinct. Now I get it. I get why Ultra exists. It's a great story. Kid in a running store sees an issue with running shoes, goes in the back using a toaster oven and creates his own design and executes zero drop running shoes. I get it, makes sense. And clearly they've got a ton of runners that like them. But like any shoe company, there are some really good ones, and then there's some that make you scratch your head. And this one really makes me scratch my head. And the reason why is because it's super soft. And I don't quite understand why a zero drop shoe would be soft. The issue is, if you land anywhere, it doesn't matter how you land, but if you land midfoot, from heel to midfoot, you're going to get compression back in the heel. Because if you land midfoot, the first thing your foot does is it sits back on its heel, and you're going to get compression. So now that shoe goes from zero drop to negative drop because it's so soft. That's what makes me scratch my head. If you look through all the reviews this year, you've probably noticed that New Balance has the most reviews. And to be honest with you, it's because New Balance is, to me, doing the most to change who they are in terms of a running brand. They're coming out with some just phenomenal shoes. The one that makes me scratch my head, and it has since it first came out when it was the Fresh Foam 980, is the Fresh Foam Boracay. It looks like it would be a really soft, supple, plush running shoe, but it's not. It's just it's kind of weird. It's 4mm drop, which means that not everybody can run in it. And it just, you run in it and it runs nice, but it doesn't have a personality. It doesn't have a like, whoa, I gotta put that shoe on my foot and run in it. So anyway, the Fresh Foam Boracay, and again, I know there's a lot of people running in it, and maybe there's a good number that say it's their favorite shoe of all time, but it makes me scratch my head. I don't think it's very fair that I put Asics in the category, in this category, and don't put Asics in the top 7 category, because there's no doubt Asics is still, they're still big in running. They're still the #1 brand for runners. But this shoe just I don't get it. It's part of their, this is the 33 DFA. It's part of their 33 line, which is a unique last. It's a Japanese last. Fits a Japanese foot really well. Really broad up here in the forefoot. Low to the ground in terms of midsole design. So I get all of that part. That makes a whole lot of sense. But this shoe I just don't get. Much like the On Cloud, this shoe bends in the midfoot. It bends clearly in the midfoot, and I don't get it. In fact, when I ran in it, and I did a lot of running in it, my arches were killing me. And it's clearly because your foot doesn't bend that way. And so, just interesting way of building for Asics. I mean, for this brand that is super technical to build a shoe like this. Last shoe, and this one kills me to put on this list, is the Nike Zoom Elite. I so much wanted this shoe to be the outstanding shoe that I remembered. Years ago, when I left, when I was at Roadrunner Sports, the last year I was there, Nike had this this plan to become the number one shoe in every shoe category, and a category that Asics had. And so they built the very first Zoom Elite to go after the Asics DS Trainer. And it was just a great shoe. In fact, I ran in it so much, very rarely do I get a second pair to run in, and I got multiple pairs of that Zoom Elite to run in. So when Nike came out with this one, I was pretty excited. I was like, oh, maybe I can get back to the love I had for that Zoom Elite. And this Zoom Elite, it's not a bad shoe, but it's not the great shoe that original one was. In fact, it's quite different. That original one was a lightweight stable trainer. This one is neutral and hard, not firm. It's hard. This midsole runs really hard. The fit is awesome. The Flyknit upper with this fly wire is just outstanding. But this midsole, it's really hard, and it just doesn't ride like the Zoom Elite that I remember, and so that's why it's on this list. Not because it's necessarily a bad shoe. Again, I see a lot of people running in it, but it's just not what the Zoom Elite was, and so it gets on this list. And that's a wrap of the 2015 running shoes. here from Moonlight Beach, Encinitas, California. 2016 is right around the corner, and there are some great shoes coming out that we hope to be able to share with you. And I'm sure that there's some not so great ones that we'll also share with you. I wish everybody could enjoy this exceptional place that I'm in right now. There's probably no better place, at least for me, on Earth.